morning, good afternoon, good evening. Mrs. Meeple back again for a new type of video. Not unboxing, not reviewing. I thought I would have a look at the weekly release sheet for the UK and talk about the games that are on it. But because we get a lot of videos telling us about new releases for America and other places, but it'll be nice to know what's coming up in the UK shops for the forthcoming week. So the first game I'm going to talk about is Capital Lux, which is a small card game set in space, 2 to 4 players, 20 to 30 minutes long. It's going to retail at $16.99. It's 7.1 on Board Game Geek. Yes, and it's a space card game about hand management, bluffing, ooh, do I, don't I, kind of game. The next game I'm going to talk about is Destination X. There we go. 1 to 10 players, 30 minutes long, retail at $21.99, 6.8 on Board Game Geek. This is one player plays a spy on the run, and the other players are trying to track him down and also work out his destination using their deduction skills and knowledge of the location. The next game, I'm very excited about this game. This will be definitely on my buy list. Santa Maria. There we go. 1 to 4 player game, 45 minutes to 90 minutes long. It's going to retail at $14.99. 7.8 on Board Game Geek. This is going to be a dice drafting tile placement game where you're building colonies. Your dice will be your workers. Now this game looks a lot like, uses the same sort of mechanisms as Karuba and Avenue, and I really like Karuba and Avenue, so it'll be really nice to see that mechanism in a longer, sort of heavier Euro game. So I'm definitely up for that one. And the next game I'm going to talk about is Kang. This is a children's game. Don't know too much about it. It's a children's kangaroo game. It's going to retail at $26.99. 2 players, 15 minutes long, and it's a children's educational math game about kangaroos. There you go. Next game up is Dunham Crushes. On the release sheet it did say gigantic version of this game. I'm not quite sure about that, but I can tell you that it's a 2-player game. It's 10 minutes long. It's going to retail at $8.99, and it's an animal battle arena type card game. Next one up is Expedition. Expedition, the role-playing card game. Now this is supposed to be an RPG you can jump into very quickly, where cards, you use a deck of cards that are your abilities. But it does use an app to run the adventures, so you do need to use an app for that. I'm a side note. I'm personally not into apps in my games. I think I'm quite old-fashioned. I like to keep my video games separate from my board games. I like my board games to be component-wise and bits and pieces, and not looking at a screen. So definitely not one for me. But may well be good. Next game up is Sponsoro. There we go. This is a 3 to 4 player card game, 40 minutes long, retail at $9.99, 6.7 on Board Game Geek. It's a gladiator trick-taking card game, and you bet on the how many tricks are going to happen during the round. That's that one. Next game up is Cuckoo with an exclamation mark. I don't know if you can see that. There we go, that's better. 3 to 5 players long, 25 to 30 minutes. It's going to retail at $9.99, 6.7 on Board Game Geek. In this game you recruit owls, sparrows and cuckoos, and you're trying to beat a magpie, and the magpie has obviously collected a certain amount of coins, and you're trying to beat the magpie's number. and you can't succeed. You can't go over 21. You're trying to get to 21, but it all depends on how close to 21 you are and how close the other people are to how you share out the Magpies coins. Next game I'm going to talk about is Hack Trick. It's hacking time. There we go. 2 players, 15 minutes. It's going to retail at $9.99. It's a deduction area control card game in which you're hackers trying to infect servers. You can either infect one server 3 times or 3 servers. That's all I know. Sounds intriguing. And the next game up to talk about was Dungeon Alliance. I know that this was a Kickstarter game. It's a dungeon adventure, a miniature adventure game with a bit of deck building in it. Each player has their own team of heroes, and they take them into the dungeon, and now you can either work together with the other teams, the other opponents' teams, or you can try and destroy them too. And you're all about collecting treasure and experience throughout the dungeon. Looks very nice, looks very pretty. 8.3 on Board Game Geek. 1 to 4 players, takes 1 to 3 hours, and it's going to retail at $72.99. And then the last game I'm going to talk about is Thwarted. There we go. Another card game, 3 to 5 players, 40 minutes long. It's going to retail at $18.99, and this card game is a take that, press your luck kind of card game, where players are the villains trying to defeat the superheroes in the city. Right, that's it for this week, and I'll see you next week with a whole bunch of more exciting games, I'm sure. Bye bye.